How do you set yourself up for success? All right. And this is going to be coming from me. This is going to be some stuff that I wish I knew and some things that I wish I'd done and understood early. Right. So I've been doing this since 2019. There are a lot of people that's been doing it longer than me. But I promise you, if you take some of these things I tell you and you can apply it, no matter as far as trading, you don't have to trade the same way as someone else. There are people in the chat that do not trade the same way as me and they do just fine. Okay. But the things I teach and tell you guys to kind of understand will go far, far longer for you, even if you don't use the same type of strategy, right? And you guys that have done the mentorship maybe know where I'm finna go with this. You've heard it before, but it's so important, right? I always emphasize this in every single day that I show you guys a play. Every play that I get into, try to show you guys why, right? That's the biggest part is understanding why. When you can understand why we do what we do in here and what I do when I teach you guys to do these things, it's for a reason, right? Trading is hard. It is very hard. Nothing about trading is easy. You're putting your hard-earned money on the line and you're risking losing everything, right? You're risking losing everything. Um, but there are certain things that you have to always keep in mind as far as technicals, as far as your mental, um, that are going to help you, right? So the first thing I would say is, how do you use the Discord, right? Let's talk about that first. How do you use the Discord? The way I have my Discord set up, you guys notice, like I pretty much run everything in it, right? So I do that for a reason. Obviously I don't have a lot of other people, calling plays, things like that. A lot of stuff I kind of do on my own, right? And I just do that because I want people to be able to understand one style before they kind of venture off, right? It's nothing wrong with having other chats. I'm in other chats, right? I'm in like Lawrence chat, Jay. I've known them for years, so I'm in their chats. It's nothing wrong with being in other chats, but you have to focus in on a certain strategy first, right? To see how it works and how you want to move, right? So the way I trade is different from the way um Jay trades or the way Lawrence trades, or you know, everybody trades a different way because everybody learns differently. But things I'm gonna show you and talk to you about is gonna be used in all of these no matter what. All right. First things first, let me share my screen. This is very quickly talk about how to use the chat, right? And it's not difficult. It's not difficult at all. So this main chat right here is just where we kind of do all the talking. You guys might notice a lot of times this is usually how it goes in the chat. All right. So sometimes we get into something pretty early and a lot of people might take it like some today, 20% on this in like less than 10 minutes. Apparently a lot of people might have took it or a lot of people seen it and everybody kind of just dipped out after that, right? It happens a lot. Some people are comfortable with taking their play and going. I'm not usually the type to take 5, 10 trades a day. I might take one or two and I'll be good. All right. Now, so that's the chat. Where I call the plays at every day that I see things that I like, it's gonna always be in here. Thoughts and signals. I'm always talk about what I like, why I like it, things of that nature. Right? Day trade signals. A lot of times I will put it in the chat, but if I get into a day trade, I would try to drop it in here if I remember. Um, but a lot of times I just call it in the chat. Swing trade, same thing. I try to put the same, the reasoning for everything, right? Leap ideas, same thing, same thing. Um, Potential settles, that's one that, everybody can talk in, right? So whether they're in the premium one or not, they can talk in it. We was doing live trading on the Zooms, but we lately been doing live trading on the Discord because it seems to be easier just because you don't have to go to a whole nother app. So anytime I do live trading, right now my days for live trading are Tuesday and Wednesday. Those are days that I'm off. So those are the 2 days that I'm able to live trade. You guys see exactly. I start in pre-market and I kind of show everything that I do, starting from why we're looking at this play, what can we expect, the ifs about this play, why I don't maybe like it, everything, right? You see everything I do. You guys see me win, you guys see me lose. Like, I don't hide anything from you because I have nothing to hide. All right. You guys see me win, you guys see me lose, but the most important part, you see the why, right? So live trading right now is Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but it's going to alternate. All right. The technical analysis, this is just a bunch of just like beginner stuff right here. Got a lot of stuff. I need to start adding to trade reviews more and more. Need to start putting stuff back in there. Just examples, chart patterns, indicators, a little bit that we do use, candlesticks is important. What else is super important? If you're new, right? This is gonna be super important for you, right? So I got how to use the Discord. I have an entire video that goes over this, the apps that you need, pillars of options trading, which this isn't supposed to be. I'm gonna take this out, but this just goes over my pillars of options trading. The things I'm gonna tell you about today, I'm gonna go over briefly. I have a video on everything, right? So everything that I do, there's a video explaining why, right? And it's a extensive video explaining how to use it. Okay. All right. How to journal trades, that's important. I go over why, show you how to do it. Terms to know. I have everything that you need to start, right? And then I have plenty of other videos that I'm going to drop. I'm gonna make a complete playlist because I have enough videos to make a super long playlist for beginners. So that's just a little bit how to use the Discord. The rest is stuff just things that everybody can see. All right. So that's just a brief overview of how to use the Discord, and it is a video in here that shows you as well. Not much has changed since then. Kind of looks the same. All right. So what else? All right. See, I got a video uploaded there. Let me pull up my trading view. You guys make sure you check out the video today. We'll be talking about top-down analysis. Might be done uploading the next 10 minutes. Let's see. Now we're going to talk about the technicals, the keys to success. All right. You guys, if you've been following me for any amount of time, or if you've been here, you guys know that I am a technical trader. That means that I use the charts to make pretty much every decision that every decision that I make comes from the charts. All right. So there are about 6 to 7 principles that you need to study and understand if you guys want to be able to trade in here and learn. Okay. And of course, I go over this every day, but it's going to take you to study on your own. You cannot get away from the screen time. Yes, I'm gonna give you my plays. Yes, they're gonna make you money. Yes, it might lose sometimes, but the probability will always be there. The process is going to always be the same. A lot of my trades look exactly the same. All right. So there are certain things that I emphasize. Okay. And I'm gonna go over all of those that you need to understand. So number one is option contract basics. This stuff is going to be your tools for success, not only for this year, but even as long as you keep trading. I guarantee you. I'm going to go over it briefly because once again, we got the videos to show you that go in depth. Okay. Option contract basics. You cannot trade without understanding what you're looking at. All right. Option contracts, what I'll say is just because they're cheap doesn't mean they're good. Just because they're expensive doesn't mean they're good. All right. You have to understand the Greeks, have to understand your expirations. You got to understand stuff like that before you even try to get into a trade. If you don't know how to buy an option contract or what you're looking at, you should not be getting in. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say that again. If you do not know what you're looking at, do not get in yet. Okay. I don't want you guys to lose money because the way options work is I could buy something, right? And this is kind of why I focus more so on teaching you guys how to do this on your own. I want to show you how to fish on your own. All right. The reason is because sometimes I can call a play and I can be out of it in 10 minutes, and somebody else might see it 30 minutes later and be like, hey, man, I just got in, man. I'm going down losing money. Why am I losing money? I've been out, right? And of course, I'll say I'm out, but just something like today, this play right here, right? So we got in this, took it down, took profit. If someone would have seen this an hour later and been taking this trade, they lost all their money today, right? So you got to understand what you're looking at, understand your options, understand how to use Discord. All right. Let's see. Number two. Let's go back to spot so I can continue to write. Once again, this is recorded. And if you guys have questions as I kind of go through this, make sure that you guys leave a comment. All right. So option contract basis is number one. That 5 is not supposed to be there. Number two, it starts to get into the actual money part. So risk management, right? So risk management is another part. I go over this a lot more in depth. Wow, I can't spell. My brain moving too fast. Risk management, all right? That's super important. Never put your entire account on a trade, all right? So it really depends on how much you have. Of course, if you have a $500 account, you should not be buying contracts that cost $400 or $500. Never use your whole account on a trade. What you got to realize is we are spoiled as options traders, right? So something like today, we made 20% in less than 10 minutes. Do you guys know that the S&P 500 goes up on average 10% a year? That means if you were to put this same amount into the S&P 500, it would take you about 2 years to get a 20% return. So what would take you 2 years, you just made in 10 minutes. You don't have to go for the home run every time. Continuously build. It's all about the long game. All right. Risk management, never use your entire account in one trade. Um, Typically I like to say 15, 20%. A trade is cool. That way you can, you have some room. You just want to make sure that you size evenly. Don't have a trade where you just risk your whole account and then your next trade you risk $50, right? It's a little bit too uneven, right? So it's gonna be days where you size down. But that day make sure that you're risking the same and don't risk everything. All right. Risk management. Let's get into the technicals. All right. This is what you're gonna want to start knowing. When it comes to technicals, understand your time frames. All right. I use TradingView for my charts. Some of you have Thinkorswim. If you only have Robinhood charts, download something else. Oh Lord, y'all can't see it. Hold on. Y'all hear me? Can you see it now? That's my connection messing up again. All right. Bet. How's the audio? Is audio good? All right. Thank y'all for telling me that. See, I would have been going on and not even knowing. All right. Getting into the technicals. One thing you got to understand is time frames. This is going to be your keys to success, especially with charting. What I'm about to show you, this is literally all that I use. I use a few basic principles to trade. I'm gonna show you all of them right now. Time frames. Understand time frames. I got this video that is uploading right now that's going to talk about this in depth. But time frames are important. Top-down analysis is the best way to analyze a stock. If you want to analyze a stock and want to be able to look at it from a swing trade standpoint, on a day trade standpoint, to understand when is a good time to buy, when is a good time to sell, you got to be able to do top-down analysis. All right. Understand what you're looking at. Understand that when you see a chart like this, notice that we're on a 5 minute. If someone sees this, they'd be like, man, why you in put? SPY's been just going up all day. But you know what they don't see? They don't see that SPY's been going down and has already broken the bear flag on the daily chart, right? So always understand that time frames. All right. What is that? Time frames was number 3. Number 1, you're gonna see a time frame. Number 2, or number 4 in this case, number 2 as far as the technicals. Understand your candlesticks, right? And there are plenty of names for candlesticks. You've heard of a dragonfly, a dead man, or grave digger. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's not important. The name of it is not important. What is important, and shout out to the last um shout out to the last mentorship class. They came up with analogy, or this little thing. They said only 3 things that are important are the open, the close, and the wick. OCW. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Where did the stock open? Where did it close? Where are the wicks? What you need to know is long bottom wicks tell you that the stock is has a strong amount of buyers because the sellers were able to push it down in that given time frame, but the buyers were able to push it right back up. Okay. So when you look right here, for example, this candle tells you where's the open, where's the close, where are the wicks. Open here, close here. You have a small wick up top, but you have a long wick at the bottom. All right. Notice that this long wick tells you that at one point in time during the day, the stock was right here, down here. Crazy bearish candle. By the end of the day, this candle was a crazy green candle. Okay. And what does it tell you? Buyers stepped in. And if you knew candlesticks and not anything else, you could have made money because look what SPY did after that candle. That literally was the bottom. All right. Literally was the bottom. All right. Candlesticks are important. We have an entire video on that. Next, number 5, understand your levels. Okay. So levels is just the word that I use for support and resistance. Why do I use levels? I believe I believe to use levels just because a stock can be a support in one place and a resistance in another. All right. Let's look at an example here. Let's look at XYZ. Let's look at XYZ. XYZ, look what we're going to be doing here. We're using time frames, right? Using our time frames. Look at this daily chart. Notice that we're way back here in 2022. And let me show you something even crazier. We can go back to 2019. We go back to 2018. This 54.95 area, right? It ain't perfect all the time, but when it gets to this area, you see congestion, you see consolidation. That tells you that the buyers and sellers are fighting. All right. So this has been a support in 2024, support in 2023, support in 2022, resistance in 2020, support in 2019, support in 2018, resistance in 2018. Like when you're charting, you're doing nothing but looking at past data and determining what might happen in the future. All right. And if you guys have been watching for a while, you know that we made some money on XYZ. I feel like an idiot because I sold it so early. I feel like an idiot. But this play could have seen this just simply by using your levels and your candlesticks, right? Using levels and candlesticks, you could have kind of noticed this play. And even now, it might even try to push up again a little bit, just given this candle. So we'll see. But that is levels, right? We talk about support and resistance. Support is basically where stock has had trouble going below. Resistance where you had trouble going above, right? But I just like to call them levels because they can be a support in one place and a resistance in the other. Why are levels important? They tell you where a stock is likely to fall down to or where it's likely to get up to and struggle to get above, right? So for instance, notice that SPY came down a little bit under this 549 level and just blasted. Why? This is a crazy support that we've been holding here. Even before here, this was a resistance at this point, support at this point, resistance at this point, right? So it's a key level. All right. It's a key level. Understanding key levels will keep you from getting you know what handed to you. All right. Just like if people didn't know that that 549 was a key level, they got that you know what handed to them today. They still in puts. Not saying that puts can't still hit. But if you was in short term puts, they hurting right now. All right. So that is levels. All right. We got a couple more. We got a couple more. All right, levels. And then this is the one that you guys, let's not go that far yet. Let's talk about this one first. Trends and trend lines. Man, I know if you guys are in the mentor show, you're like, man, I could be getting a nice little reminder. Trends and trend lines. And also, guys, one thing I'm going to tell you is I'm talking about this in a specific order for a specific reason. All right, everything I do is for a reason. Let's keep going. Trends and trend lines. You got to understand this, right? So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 charting principles. Okay. Two of the principles that are like risk management, psychology type thing, understanding. Okay. Trends and trend lines. You have to understand when a stock is uptrending or when it's downtrending, right? So understanding higher highs and higher lows versus lower highs and lower lows versus consolidation. Okay. It's consolidation. And you also have to use that larger time frame to understand when you're in a big uptrend versus when you start to kind of break down, right? So trends are super important. When you understand the trend, you can make your trend lines, okay? Trend lines are important because a trend line can act as a place of support and resistance, right? So for example, I'm gonna go ahead and front run this a little bit. This is a bear flag. Okay, bear flag tells you that the stock is likely to continue down. Notice that when the pole or this down move happens and it pulls back, this bottom trend line acts as a support, top trend line acts as a resistance. When it breaks the resistance, aka this bottom trend line, aka the support, what do? We fail. Where did we fall to? Our next key level. But what else did we break? This is the backbone of my strategy. Confluence. Start to understand the candlesticks. What does the candlestick and the time frame and the levels tell you? This candlestick here told us specifically sellers were stepping in. These last two, actually, sellers stepped in. All right. We know that we're near support levels, number 5, candlesticks, number 4, on a daily time frame, number 3. We got all bearish signals to tell us that if we break down from this flag and this level on the daily, got a lot of conviction that it's gonna come down. All right. That's the bread and butter of this stuff, man. All right. So that's trends and trend lines. Now, number 7. This is the one that everybody asks about, but this is the one I like to talk about towards the end. Chart patterns. You may say, well, that's all you seem to use. Why do you talk about chart patterns towards the end? Because what people don't understand, because it's not really taught, chart patterns are made from a combination of trend lines and candlesticks, or a combination of the trend lines, candlesticks, and levels. Okay. What formed this bear flag? Number 1, the candlesticks. It can't form without the candlesticks. What else helped it form? The trend lines. You can't see it without the trend lines, right? Well, I guess you kind of have to see it before you start drawing it. All right. And then I said some levels because there are chart patterns that you use a level to determine a breakout, such as the ascending triangle, which I'll let you do a little homework on that to see what that is. All right. Chart patterns are also important because they give you your sense of direction. They're the best played when you use these when you already know the trend. Example, we don't even got to leave SPY. We know that SPY has been downtrending. This bear flag tells us that this thing can't continue down because it's a continuation pattern. All right. So there are a few types of patterns. You have continuation patterns, neutral patterns, and reversal patterns. Flags, bull flag and bear flag, are continuation patterns. All right. So you also have the neutral patterns and reversal patterns that I'm going to let you dig into a little bit. All right. I'm going to let you dig into that a little bit. So chart patterns. I love these chart patterns. They are I love them, man. They really give you a high probability. These are high probability setups, right? And when you start pairing this along with the other principles, that's when the moves get crazy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. My strategy is really meant to hit home runs. It is meant to hit a home run. That's what it's meant to do. Simply because I'm using the daily time frame to find these plays. The daily chart, when you think about it here, bear flag on the daily. Where's the next level? 564 to 549. How much is that? That's like $15. How much money can you make on a $15 move on SPY? That's a lot. All right. The strategy is really meant to hit home runs. Yes, I do, scalp and things like that. But when you see me have the big days, it's because the home run played out. And one thing I like to always tell people is you don't have to trade every day. I don't trade and hit a home run every day. I've had 3 days this year. I trade every single day, right? Or I at least look for a trade every day. I don't have a trade every day, but I've had 3 days where I've hit $1,000, right? And I'm very, very happy about that. But what I will say, these are days where there have been home run plays. But what you guys don't see, especially if you haven't been in here, you guys don't know the past few weeks. I haven't been doing much, right? Maybe a little win here and there, a little loss here and there, but I haven't had that many trades. But there's been 2 to 3 trades this year that have really defined the year pretty much, right? And it can be the same way that can define your losing year if you don't know what you're doing. Okay? There are people, and I've done this, and you guys might have done this too. You probably did. You may have a great month. You have one bad day, you wipe out your profit for the whole month. I've done that. I had a great few months, had a couple bad trades, wipe out the profits for the past few months. It doesn't take a lot to change it in a good way, and it don't take a lot to change it in a bad way. You gotta have this stuff on point, especially number one and number two. You gotta have this stuff on point. All right. I hope this made sense. Please take note of this stuff. I'm talking to y'all, but it's like I'm talking to the 2019, 2020 me too. All right. Last but not least, I say this for last because is it important? Not as much. Indicators, right? So everybody loves indicators, but what I will tell you is they are probably not probably, they are the least important for me. For me, right? So there are strategies that use indicators only and they work, right? This is what works for me. I've tried everything. I've did the Bollinger Bands, I did Fibonacci, I've done VWAP. It just didn't work for me, right? This just worked for me. I don't use a lot of indicators. You guys see my chart. You guys will see me have volume. You see me have the RSI. And if I'm day trading, like on a 1 minute, and I'm looking at getting a move that I don't plan on being in all day, you will see me maybe have on the Ripster clouds. All right. So those are pretty much the only 3 indicators I really use. I'll say the 200 as well. The 200 really gives you a good sense of um where stock is, likely to bounce or likely to be resistance, and it's just very helpful. All right. Other 2 indicators, the RSI, the relative strength index above 70, considered overbought. Below 30, considered oversold. And volume is super important because that tells you how many traders are really trading this thing, right? And what is high volume versus low volume? You simply just look, right? You look at these volume candles compared to the previous ones. All right. So you can say in January and February, we had very low volume. You can say after February 21st, we've been having a lot of volume, right? Or at least a lot more than we've been having in a long time. Okay. So that's just a way to analyze it is you just looking at the candle compared to the other candles. Honestly, it's not much more than that. It's not a specific number because every stock will be different. All right. And the ones you may see me use is the Fripster clouds, right? So you guys would see these, and I'll kind of just show you what they are used for. You only use this when you have a trend, right? When you have a trend and it tells you where the stock is likely to come up and reject, okay? So you can use this on I like using on the 1 minute and 5 minute, but you can use it on a higher time frame, but I just like the 1 minute, 5 minute. So for example, like today, we got an opening down move, right? So we got an opening down move, and I'm finna break this down in a way that's finna use all of this, right? So we finna put all this stuff together. Let's start from the daily. Let's start from the daily. This is going to make sense, but it might confuse you. At the same time, you just got to study it, right? From the daily chart, what do we have? We know that we have a bear flag pattern that is in full effect, and we know that the next support down here at 549.81. Cool. So we know that under 549.81, we have a chance to possibly come down to 540. All right. But we know that this is a strong support. Cool. So was I planning on holding this all day? I was not, and you guys see that I did get us out of it rather quickly when we made our money. But as we broke down, you don't chase the down move. Don't chase the down move or don't chase the up move. Wait on the pullback. You will always get a pullback. Well, most of the time, right? You didn't get one on Friday for a long time, but typically you never chase the down move. Okay. So from the daily, we know we are breaking a key level and we broke the bear flag and we're bearish. Okay, cool. Break the key level. Gotcha. The pullback. Why do you want to take it on a pullback? You take it on a pullback because your contracts get cheaper, especially when you're day trading. Imagine catching your contracts at 584 versus catching your contracts up here. Well, this is the first count that you really could have taken at 549. Okay. This is a pretty nice difference in the contracts, right? And you're just looking for it to reject. All right. So it rejected here, came back up again, and started to reject it again, right? So you could have possibly even had two entries. I never even got past the starters. It kind of just went straight down. But was able to make 20% on that. I kind of just let the starters do their thing, and it ended up going a little lower. Probably could have got like 30, 40%, but I was cool with the drop down here, right? So that was less than 10-minute trade and was able to make 20%. Just like that, just from understanding what's going on a larger time frame and how to understand a method of entry. Okay. But it all comes from a larger time frame. All right. If you didn't know that was a support, it's somebody that was holding and got the you know what kick. All right. So that's just brief. This is just a very brief like intro to what I do in here and what I teach, right? I try to pride myself on keeping this as simple as possible, right? And I know that I gave you 8 things. I just gave you 8 things to learn. I think you can learn 8 things. Okay. And then even really, this one is kind of optional a little bit. And this one, number one, it's really only a couple things that you got to look for, right? But I go over all of that. So really six things that you really got to learn. Okay. 6 things that you really got to learn. I know everybody has the mental capability to learn 6 things. And then every trade is not going to use everything. All right. So you're not even using all 6 things at once. Okay. But that's just a brief intro. This is really like a refresher slash beginner video. This is recorded. So, if you guys have any questions, um, feel free to ask me. Feel free to kind of look back on this to watch it. So that's really all I got, man. If you guys have any questions at this time, drop them in the chat and we can talk. I'll start the recording here, but it will be posted. I'll start the recording here. Let me know if you guys got any questions, comments, or concerns. There are no bad questions. Promise you, I've asked any question you can think about asking. I've already asked it. Which trading platform is the best to use? What's going on, Ron? What's up, bro? Um, I used to. I used to, and I recently split it up. Because I was supposed to do that a long time ago. But I'll say if you're a beginner, Robinhood. Robinhood has came a long way, man. Let me see who been here for a long time, man. Who been doing this for a long time? Um, ask Dennis, bro. Like Dennis, Dennis been trading. He started around the same time I did, 2019. So, bro, Robinhood has came a long way. Dennis can attest to that. Robinhood has came a very, very long way in their platform. Their platform is actually pretty decent. There was a point in time that you couldn't even, if you were day trading, I would say, heck no, man, don't use Robinhood. Only long term. But now, Robinhood is good, man, for all types of trading, and they're just getting better and better. So as a beginner, I say use Robinhood, and they also have a lot of good informational stuff on their platform as well. When you start getting a little bit more advanced, you can go to Webull or um you can use Thinkorswim, but I suggest people use Webull, right? And the reason I say that is because you get charged commissions, right? So even Robinhood has commissions now that they are a better platform. Um, and they're more expensive on some platforms and others. I think Thinkorswim was like 65 cents a contract. And that's cool at first, when you're trading one or two contracts, but when you start trading, six, seven plus contracts, it starts to add up over time. All right. So Webull has like, I think their commission like 7 cents, 8 cents. I'll take that. I'll take that compared to 65. All right. And I think Robinhood is like 3 cents, 4 cents maybe. So, yep, Robinhood. Use Robinhood as you kind of learn some more. Use Webull. It's a great question, bro. Yeah, it's a great question. Yes, sir. No problem. What other questions y'all got? Oh, you can't go through the spy. The one from today. Are you asking the one from today, Dennis? And yep, the meta play was pretty much over because it hit the target at open. Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of seen today when I kind of came in, so I was like, well, a lot of the plays are kind of already below the entry. So at that point, all you could really do is wait for a retest or a continuation. Now meta is actually still pretty nice on the setup. You kind of gotta look for a different type of thing here though, which I'll show you real quick. Meta can still be a play, and you might even have a better entry up here. Let me show you why. So I have two methods of entry. Okay. I have breaking retest and I have the chart patterns. Okay. Now, on a daily chart, these things will break and retest. Okay. My screen should be coming up. Let me know when you guys can see it. Let me know when you guys can see this. All right, cool. The level here, so this is not only the level, right? Because you see all of this. Let me tell you, so you don't need this on the daily chart. You see 5, 7, 5, 5, 7, 6 is the level, right? So struggle here, struggle here, struggle here, struggle here, struggle here. All right. Cool. That's the level. We opened below. We opened well below, right? It did come down all the way down to 553. But you see, I didn't sit on it, right? Because I just felt like it was going to come back and retest because of how strong this level is. So it broke this level. Now it's coming back to retest. So if you were going to take a chance on it for it to come down, how we think it could possibly do if the market continues down, this would be the time. This would be the time because you're at the retest, okay? Now, could you get absolutely blown away? You could, but that's where you got to come in with your risk management. Got to see how the stock is moving up here, right? If it's weak up here, okay, all right, this thing ain't holding. Now we can ride it down. And this is the thing too. Think about catching your puts at 553 versus catching your puts at 576. Your risk is a lot, your risk to reward is a lot better up here. All right. Than taking it down here. So this is great that it came up and retested because if it's weak tomorrow, we can grab some contracts. All right. So it ain't completely off the list, but make sure you are exactly right. Got took off today pretty much just because, kind of was already down at that 560 level and kind of even came down here pretty much off open. So yep. But as far as a swing, this thing still might be perfect. Might even got a better opportunity now. So we'll see. It's a great question. And since you said the SPY, that's when we had went over a few minutes ago. I'll show you here real quick. SPY today. It was under the level already, under the key level. Didn't chase it down, move, pushed back up, took it here because it rejected the Ripster cloud. I was really just looking for a low of day and even got a little bit lower than that. So um entered up here, right? And pretty much just came straight down. Sold a little bit early. Sold on this one because I didn't want to take a chance of it bouncing, but ended up going almost, yeah, $1 lower, man. So it probably could have been like a 40-50% play if I would have held down here. But that's considering if you would have sold perfectly. And I know I probably wouldn't have sold perfectly, so I'm not even as stressing that. 20% is great. All right. That was the play. Wasn't a whole lot to it. What other questions do you guys have? Oh, yeah, no problem at all, bro. No problem at all. No problem at all. Any more questions? Once again, this is recorded. Well, not this ending part, but all the essential part that we're talking about is recorded. All right. If not, man, that's really what I got for y'all today. If you got questions, just shoot me a message on the back end. Most of you guys have my number. But if not, just shoot me a message on Instagram or in the Discord. I do have a lot of messages on the Discord and Instagram, so if you got my number, that'd be a lot better. But that's really what I got, man. This is recorded, and I hope this kind of made things make a little bit more sense about what I do, what I look for. Um, you may notice I look for very specific things, right? So I don't have trades all the time because I need my specific setups to trade. All right. I just had a 3 week streak where I really wasn't trading much at all. So can you post some charting questions in Discord? Oh yeah, of course. Of course. That's what I got it for. That's what I got it for. Yep, send that. Say, how about the TTD trade? Yeah, let's talk about that one. Let's talk about TTD right quick before we hop off. So I like this play. But I'm still cautious. I'm still cautious with the market. That's why I only got one contract. I'm gonna put a 200, what, 250, $260 contract on it. TTD. When we look at TTD here, notice that it kind of fell down to something like a support around here, right? So this has been a support here lately in March, and I wouldn't really say it's too much of a support in the past, just because you got a lot of counts that's just kind of going through it. Um, So I maybe one kind of support on the past, but definitely a support here that it took off from and kind of gave you back down to this same area here again, right? So at a level, number one, from the daily chart, two basic principles. Number three, this is a setup that I love called bullish divergence. And this got some crazy bullish divergence, right? So bullish divergence is when your stock is making a lower low, but the RSI is making a higher low. You look at TTD here, the stock itself, if I draw my trend line, notice we're using our basic principles. If I draw my trend line, this trend line is coming down on the stock. The RSI, the trend line is going up. That ain't matching up. All right. So that tells me that this thing, given, that it has a good candle, we have a nice chance to really bounce. Okay. Now, this thing here, what are we using? Candlesticks. Notice what we're doing. We're using confluence, y'all. All this stuff is just getting put together. Long bottom wick, add a support, with bullish divergence, take your chance. What are we really risking here? What are we really risking? All right, we're really risking. Let's say we got it somewhere around there. I don't know exactly. Let me also show you how much this thing has been beat up. All right, let me show you that too. So since February 12th, this thing is down about $70. All right. So it's not like you buying high, you're buying low. That's what you want to do with a swing. To be honest with you, I probably didn't even buy enough time. To be real, I should have got a longer contract. Because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, the real money is made in the swings. When you can catch those big swings, that's where you make the most money. Imagine catching this move from 54. Let's say 54 is the bottom, right? And I would love it to be because I'm in it. Let's say 54 is the bottom. Imagine getting a long contract and you catch a $70 move that fills this gap. Bro, you would make so much money, right? But of course, you need a contract with a lot of time. I got May 2nd, so I have like a month, which that's a lot for me. Um, I'm more so of a shorter term trader, but what are we really risking? This is the support. So if we don't hold support, the trade really isn't gonna work, you know? So kind of maybe 52, maybe, right? Give a little room to work. Give a little room to work. 52. Um, could be targeting this high again here, which you don't have to, but well, you don't have to get all the way up here to make a lot of money. Guarantee you that. But a target could be this high. So you're risking about $2 to make $8 just about, right? So pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's a TTD play. Basically, you got a setup on the daily chart, bullish divergence, nice candle at support. Take your chance. You want to add on to it, give you a little more confluence. Look at SPY at this good support. All right. So SPY could get up here and reject, and that's gonna make TTD reject. But take your chance, man. Take your chance. You can't trade scared. Can't trade scared, and don't put everything in your trade, right? So if I plan on getting like $600 worth of TTD, if we come down and we form another bullish candle, I could buy again for cheaper. Easy. All right. So that's TTD. But sort of what I got, y'all. Once again, if you guys got any questions, just shoot me a message on the back end. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was educational. If you did learn something new, or if you didn't, I hope it was a good refresher. Because I know a lot of you that's in here have been here for a while. So I appreciate you guys hopping on as well. Shout out to all y'all, Miss Chrissy, shout out Damien, Miss Siri, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out Nicole, Run, Pamela. Y'all got you in here too. Appreciate y'all for hopping on, man. Y'all got any questions? Just shoot me a message. Once again, it's gonna be recorded. I appreciate y'all, and we'll be live trading in the morning, right? So around 9:15, 9:20. Um, you guys know that's usually when I hop on and try to do it until about 11, or when we catch a play and it kind of dies out. That's when we kind of stop. So yeah, that's it, man. I appreciate y'all. And you guys got any questions, just let me know, man. I'll see y'all in the morning, hopefully.